Setting up. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ielts Insider. I am Robin Shaw, and today we're going to talk about the difference between Ielts General and Ielts Academic. I know that can be confusing to some students, like which test should I take? Are they the same? Are they the same price? We're going to answer all these questions today. Before I get started, I'm just going to say hello to chat. See which students have showed up for class. I see Layla. Hello, welcome, Layla. We didn't see you yesterday, but you are here today, so everything's good. Dewey's here. Hello, Cavino. Welcome, Salome. You chose the topic today, so this is for you. Grace, hello. And yes, I would appreciate if you like the video. And Salome, of course, hello, Mr. Shaw. That is the proper way to address me. And Tika is here. So, welcome everyone to this lesson. And some other people will come in a little later. Okay, so there we go. IELTS General and IELTS Academic. What's the difference? As you know, the IELTS test is an international test. It's accepted around the world by different universities, institutions, and governments. We'll find out today. So we will talk about the difference in detail a little bit. And if you have any questions at any point, just let me know in the comments section. As we know, with the IELTS Academic, that is the popular one. So I think 75% of people take, or 75% of students will take the IELTS Academic, and 25% will take the IELTS General. So the IELTS Academic test, this is the one you need if you want to study at a university or a college in an English speaking country. So, as I mentioned in yesterday's live stream, usually a target score is band 7. It goes up to band 9. Band 7 is usually the target score that students want to achieve or universities want. Of course, some other smaller universities or colleges might accept bands 6.5 or 6 or maybe even lower. I don't know. But usually, band 7 is the main goal of most students. So, the key word there is academic. Academic means studying in university. So, IELTS academic, that's what most people want. And of course, also companies. So if you're trying to get into a company or some employment, usually they ask for IELTS academic also. So, for example, if you want to go into a professional job in an English speaking country, they might require you or ask you to get a IELTS exam. That brings us to the IELTS General, the IELTS General Training Test. This is for everyday non academic English. So, what's the difference between everyday English and academic English? Well, everyday English is English. We're just going to communicate on an everyday basis. We're not at work. We're not in the classroom. We're walking around. We're talking to people. We're talking on the phone. We're writing emails and letters. We're going to shops. So this is more of a general English test of just your general English ability. The academic test, now this is harder because when you go to a university in America or the UK, of course, you have to be at a very, very high level to survive in the classroom, understand the professor, read a lot, listen a lot. But the IELTS general training, this is more for the average person who is not planning to go to university in America. I'm just going to check the chat if anyone has any questions. Again, if you have any questions, just let me know. Hello, Anna Maria. Okay, so Cavino says, I have no any choice and any idea about this properly, but no, I can understand this is about 75%. Okay, we're just, the IELTS is a test, and there are two main styles. Hello, Eunice. Has anyone ever got? Oh, Layla comes in with a question. Has anyone got band nine? Perfect score. Yeah, of course. Lots of people get band nine. For example, I know some students. They in Korea here. Yeah, they actually spent time in America. They came back to Korea, but they're fluent in English, and they want to go back to America to study. They still have to prove that they are high level in English, so they take the test and they do get band nine, of course. And I think most native speakers can get band nine with a little preparation. But band nine shouldn't be, well, of course, our goal is always fluent English, but when people are studying the IELTS, it's a very difficult test. Usually, most students, their target is not band nine. They're aware that band nine is not very realistic goal in a short amount of time. So even band seven is very difficult for a lot of students. So I think a good target is band seven. You don't if you can get band nine, you're probably not watching this video. You're fluent in English. But if you don't get band nine, don't feel bad because whatever you get, that's your level. Now, if you don't get band seven, that doesn't mean you're terrible at English. Uh, if it's for the academic, it means you need to study more about academic English. Okay, I'm going to move along here. Oh, this is not so. Here, what can I do? I can pop that up. I'm not sure if you guys can see that clearly. Maybe I can put myself down there. I'll take myself off. So here's a chart: IELTS academic versus general training. I'm not sure if you can see this on your phone or monitor, wherever you're looking. So it tells the difference. So if you look at the left side, academic, meant for educational and professional settings. So the reading parts of the test, remember there's reading, writing, listening, and speaking, four parts of the test. The reading part includes academic texts. So these are high level writings. Writing one in the test is to describe an illustration. We will show that in a future live stream. The test covers advanced topics and it's considered more difficult than IELTS general training. Look at the right side, general training. I think I can pop up now. The reading part includes text related to workplace and social interaction. So that's a big difference. The academic reading is about academic texts, and the general training is for workplace social interactions. Uh, Writing one for general training is to write a letter, either personal, formal, or semi formal. Okay, writing one for the academic is to describe an illustration. There are no visuals. We will talk about that in a future lesson. And the test covers topics of general interest, not high level advanced academic topics. So it's just general English. That's what it's testing. And I'm going to check the questions. Okay, hello. All right, Tika. Wow. Do we know that we use more academic words? I found it so hard to understand because I don't use it in daily commerce. Yes. Vocabulary, a strong vocabulary is necessary. You need to know more academic words for the academic IELTS. Of course, you have to be at a high level for academic IELTS, which are cases the native speakers need to take the IELTS. Most if they were born in an English speaking country, they do not need to take IELTS or TOEFL. So, like me, I was born in Canada. No university, no company would ever ask me to prove my English ability by taking IELTS test. But sometimes, people are born in a country that is not um, their first language is not English, but that person that uh, for whatever reason, maybe one or two of their parents are fluent and they became fluent themselves, but they do not have a passport of an English speaking country. They, although they are fluent and native speaker, they might be required to take an IELTS, but most people do not. Cavino, by the way, Robin, sir, I would like to move to an English speaking country for my education. If you could please tell me what kind of exam should I write as just like for scholarships? Well, you would need to write the IELTS exam, what we're talking about today. If you're going to an English speaking country, you will need to take the IELTS or TOEFL, but this channel is IELTS Insider. We're not going to talk about TOEFL too much, which is another test. Um, and certainly you can do that, Cavino. I'm not sure about the scholarship parts, but certainly you will need to take this IELTS test. All right. So Tika says I need to get 500 score for TOEFL and a minimum seven band seven for all sections on IELTS to get a job under the government. Mhm. They require me to understand English well. Honestly, it's difficult for me. Honestly, it's difficult for everyone. Okay, most students do struggle to get band 7. As I said, this requires, there's no quick study for this test. It requires months, sometimes years of preparation. It is not easy. That is why I am making my channel, so I can help you to get that score. So, Tika, if you really want to get band 7, we will do our best to get you that score. If we don't want to study university, is it okay to take IELTS academic instead of general? Well, Salome, why take the IELTS? You anyone can take the IELTS. Like if you're not going to university in America or the UK or Canada, you could take the IELTS and get your score. And oh, I'm band 7. You can do that, but yeah, you have to pay money. These are expensive tests, so usually people do not uh, get this test unless they actually have a goal or some requirement from a university or institution. But certainly, you can take the IELTS academic. Again, what would be your motivation to take the test? Just to see what your level is, or do you have a goal in mind? Everyone supports me and I'm working on it. I hope when I'm ready to take the test, I'll pass all of it. I'm anxious. Well, again, the IELTS is not a pass fail test. You can't, you don't really fail the test. It just gives you a score. And this is the score they require. If you get below the score, again, that does not mean you're terrible at English. It means you didn't study the test enough. If we take an average native speaker from Canada and we say sit down and write this IELTS test, they will struggle to do the test because although they're fluent in English, uh, they do not know how to take this test. And there's certain strategies to take this test. And certainly, as I said in yesterday's video, it's very important to understand the test, each part of the test, what kind of questions, how much time do you have for each part, things like that. So, Tika, you can do it, but it really takes a lot of time and effort on your part if you want to get that. And I hope to help you. Is it mandatory for each one wants to immigrate to English countries all of a sudden? I'll talk about that, Layla. Let's see. I'll move on to the next slide. Let's. This slide again just kind of talks. I just wanted to mention that there's the four parts: listening, reading, writing, speaking. Up at the top is the green, that's the listening. The listening is the same, exactly the same for IELTS academic, IELTS general training. The listening part is the same. The reading and writing is a little different, okay? Uh, so the reading and the writing for each part is a little different. What you need to read, what you need to write, but it's takes the same time, about 2 hours 45 minutes. Both tests take about the same time, and then the speaking at the bottom, that's the same. That's the same too. So the listening and the speaking are exactly the same on both tests, except the reading and writing are slightly different. So the IELTS listening and speaking tests are the same for both tests. So Layla, I'll get back to your question about immigration a little bit later. The IELTS academic is more required and accepted than IELTS general, isn't it? Well, yes, Eunice, as I said, if you're planning to go to a university, you must take IELTS academic. If you're planning to get a professional job, usually they will ask for IELTS academic. So most people, as I said at the beginning of the lesson, 75% of people will be trying to get IELTS academic. S- what's so the IELTS general training evaluates your English proficiency in an everyday context. Okay, again, the general training is more about your everyday English, not uh, academic English. And you will need this type of test for immigration and sometimes work in an English speaking country, or even the process of obtaining citizenship in certain countries like Canada. So, yes, Canada will ask for IELTS general training. If you want to work in Canada in a non professional job, so you have to understand there's different kinds of jobs. Professional jobs, uh, I don't mean to classify jobs this way, but a professional job might be like doctor, nurse, engineer, very higher level jobs. They usually require IELTS academic. But in Canada, if you have, I guess, what's a polite word? Uh, not so professional jobs, like house, or what's the hotel housekeeper, restaurant worker, these basic entry jobs into Canada. Usually, you don't need IELTS academic. Canada is asking for IELTS general training. So if it's a simpler job, I don't want to say simpler. The more common, entry to to get into Canada. Canada has different programs of working in Canada, to get permanent residency and then citizenship. A lot of those jobs, uh, the Canadian government will ask for your IELTS general training score, not IELTS academic. And of course, immigration. Canada will ask for IELTS general training, not IELTS academic. Okay, I'll go back. So I think that answers Layla. Layla's question is mandatory for Canada. It is. I don't know about the UK. Perhaps that's a question to ask James when he does a live stream in the upcoming weeks, um, or the US. I'm not sure, but if the government usually asks for IELTS general training. Okay. Could you please explain me about the bands which you're talking about now? I still do not understand these bands. The band is a score. So nine, they go from 0 to 9. And band 9 being the highest level you can achieve on the test. And then band 7 is the 7 score is usually the requirement by most universities. I'm not going to go into detail about the bands in this live stream. In a future live stream, I will, Cavino. Cavino, this is we cannot give the IELTS is a complicated test. We cannot give all information at one time, step by step. Hi, I won't take this tests. It's still good to study to improve your English. Does the IELTS degree have an expiration date? Yes, it does. I think it goes, maybe it is, yeah, 2 years. Did we have a sound problem? Let me know you can hear me. 2 years for the TOEFL test, and the IELTS test are both 2 years, and they will expire. My computer mentioned to me or told me there was a sound. You can hear me? Okay. There's no sound problem. Okay, let's take a look at some more questions. When we're on a speaking section, do we have to talk to the questioner in a formal way or in a casual way, or depends on the questioners? Well, this is a serious test. Be formal as much as you don't have to be ultra super formal, but yeah, it is a formal test. This is not a casual test. This is not a test to take lightly. It's a very serious test. Cavino, I'd like to know about this IELTS test in the way of questions coming. Do you think that this is value for me? Yes, Cavino, Cavino, I know you're very young and you don't know about IELTS very well yet. But if your plan is to go to an English-speaking country, you will need to start studying the IELTS test. For most people, it's important. Soon, I really need your hand to pass the IELTS exam. I'll complete my study first, and then I'll focus on, okay, let me know in the chat. If someone got band 5 or less, does she need to take the IELTS exam more one time to go to university or get a job? Well, so Layla, if you want to go to a university, you contact the IELTS and the university. They're not connected. So you want to go to university, and every university website, they will tell you for international students what TOEFL score you need or what IELTS band score you need. So as I said, usually, depending on the university, it's band 7. So that's the requirement to get into that university. So if you get a band 5, you would not apply to that university because they will not accept you. It takes money. You got to pay for the test, and then when you get your score, you got to usually pay to apply to university. If they have a requirement of band 7 and you got band 5, you're probably not going to spend money to apply to that university. So you would need to keep taking the test until you get band 7. So if you got band 5, that shows you, the gap, how much more you have to study to get band 7. So you plan to make an academy of IELTS among us? It's my plan to make a YouTube channel to teach about the IELTS test with James, who will be here soon to the channel in a week or two, and give information not just about the IELTS test, but improving your English. This channel is a little more serious than my other channels because IELTS is a serious test and it requires time and effort. You have to be very diligent and to improve your English and get, if you want to get a good IELTS score, you really have to study. So if you're a serious student, this is the place to be. Band 9 is difficult to get for non-native English speakers. Yes. I heard even native would find it difficult. You are correct. No, that's correct. Again, it's, native speakers know English, but if they are not familiar with the test, they wouldn't do well on the test. You need to practice the test. I want to learn this probably with your help. Of course, we are here to help. Is it possible to hear you louder? How's the sound? Do I sound quiet? So when students say possible to hear you louder, I'm not sure if that is my problem or your phone or speaker problem. All right, let's move on. Before I get to there's so many questions. Before I get to the next questions, the IELTS academic, just to review, the IELTS academic assesses whether your English level is appropriate for an academic environment. So if you plan to take IELTS academic, the academic environment. So if you intend to go to school, college, university, bachelor's, master's, or doctoral programs in an English-speaking country, you will have to take the IELTS academic. So that's just a review of the previous slides. And I'm going to talk about price in a moment here. We're going to go through your countries to check the price. I'll just answer a few more questions. So as I've understood from you, the IELTS academic cannot replace IELTS general within the visa procedure. No, that's a good question. Let me just take it. That's a good question. Let me check that. Immigration to Canada. No, you have to choose IELTS academic or IELTS general. If you plan to go to Canada and they require IELTS general, but you took the IELTS academic, they will not accept the score. You have to choose the correct test. For Australia and Canada, I'm not sure about every country. Some sources suggest get both tests. If you're planning on emigrating to an English-speaking country, both tests can be beneficial. While taking that exam, each section has a specific and certain teacher, for example, speaking skill. There's going to be multiple, you're going to hear multiple accents. You will hear, the speaking test will be one-on-one with one teacher, but the listening, you're going to hear different accents. Does the university where you teach accept students from other countries? If yes, is IELTS one of the requirements? Yes, in Korea. Interesting question. In Korea, universities do accept international students, and they do usually, depending on the program, I think most programs require some sort of IELTS or TOEFL score. But when students come to Korea, international students, they're encouraged to study Korean language and to graduate from Korean university as an international student. The focus is on their Korean skills, not their English skills, because let me just take a quick check of the requirements. Yeah, it depends on the universities. Some of them are requiring, and it also depends on your program. So some of them are requiring band 7. Oh, IELTS, some universities as low as IELTS 5.5. Some of them are 6, some of them are 7. So kind of a lower band score. TOEFL 71. And Duolingo. Some schools have accepted Duolingo score. Okay, good. What kind of IELTS do people choose to get a job? Again, if you're going for the high-level professional jobs, you need IELTS academic. If you're going for the lower-level jobs, IELTS general training is okay. Okay, let's take a look at pricing. Type your country in the chat, and I will tell you the price of both tests. So in the chat, type your country. Well, let's find the price. Afghanistan. These are US dollars. Indonesia. Let's go down. I'm not sure how much that is in US dollars. So IELTS, academic or general training, RP 2,900,000. I don't know how much that is in US dollars. Can you tell us? I'm just going to do a quick check. Expensive. I know it's expensive. Okay, Indonesia. So that is not well, it's expensive, but cheaper than other locations. So that's about 100 and basically $200 for the IELTS there. Morocco. Let's take a look at Morocco. IELTS Academic General, 2,500 Moroccan. Is that dirham? Which is about 250 US dollars. Sri Lanka. Well, yeah, Sri Lanka is There we go. Sri Lankan rupee, 25,100, which is, oh, that's very cheap. Sri Lanka is very cheap because that is about $70. So that's a cheap location for you, 70 US dollars. I know that might look expensive to you, but so that's Sri Lanka. We can't take IELTS test in Iran, so we should go to Turkey. Let's take a look at Turkey. 990. Let's see. The Turkish lira, is that right? That's about, oh, that's pretty cheap. That's again about 60 US dollars for the IELTS academic and general training pen and paper. Oh, the computer one is a little more, is about $63. That's pretty cheap in the world for IELTS. Do you have any advice for the students who plan to take the IELTS to develop their vocabulary, because this is a big problem? Yeah, IELTS will develop a high level, high vocabulary. Yes. Saudi Arabia. So this is, I'm going to look at the computer. What's that? Rial, Saudi Arabia Rial, 1,000. That's about three. Oh, yeah, Saudi Arabia is expensive. 308 US dollars. Oh, there's our Iran on the list. Let's take a look. So Iran, the Iranian rial. Whoa, that's a big number. So that's expensive. So that is, ooh, it's better to go to Turkey, because this is, I don't know if I got the right number. This is $722. Let's see if there's test locations. Yeah, there's test locations in Iran, but it is expensive there. It is expensive. This makes me cry before starting. Okay. 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 I won't waste my money to fly to another country to take the test. That's quite silly of someone who would do that. Well, again, the IELTS test is life-changing to a lot of people, so it's very expensive. And again, if you're just checking your level, there's lots of IELTS practice tests. So you can study for IELTS and just take a practice test, and then you will know your score. You don't have to get the official score if you don't need that for a university. If you just want to check your level, just take a practice test. No, it's about 100 US in Iran. Okay, so these numbers might be a little off. Okay, then $100 is not too bad for a test. That price makes me cry. Again, if you don't need an official score, you can take a practice. And Cavino, it's a little bit sweating for me when I see my country's price. Cavino, your country is cheap compared to the rest of the world. This is a very serious test. It changes people's lives. They can go work or study abroad or live, emigrate, things like that. Okay, I'm going to give you homework. I'm going to finish up the live stream in a minute or two. Your homework is, yes, to like this video right now. Take the time, hit the like. Share. It's a new channel. If you know of anybody else or a group of people, Facebook group or WhatsApp, where they are studying IELTS, please, I would appreciate it if you let them know that, hey, there's this new channel and there's this new teacher that's going to help you get your IELTS score up. So please share it to the group, Facebook, WhatsApp, whatever social media, whatever people you know who are interested in IELTS. I would appreciate that. And comment. It's great when you're commenting in the chat, but if you're watching this not live, a lot of people are not watching live. They're watching it the next day or the next week or 1 year later. Please still send us a message below, and that would be great too. All right. I'll probably do another live stream, maybe not tomorrow, but Thursday. I'll be back with another live stream, and below this video, there's the social media connections, including the WhatsApp group for IELTS. You can come in there and you can come suggest a video. There's so much to learn about IELTS. Yesterday and today, we're just lightly talking about it. In future videos, we're going to go a little bit deeper into strategies and ways to improve your score. And again, if you don't really need the IELTS score, it's still a good way to improve your English, to watch and study with us. Okay, I'm just reading the chat. All right, thank you for watching, everyone, and I'll see you again in the future. So take care and start thinking about IELTS. Bye, everyone.